Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club, and today I am starting a bit of a project piece here. So I have this is this is definitely a vintage kit. I honestly have no idea when this was produced, and I got it. Well, let's say I got it more or less. It's not at a rummage sale exactly, but it's not far off. This, yeah. So here's the bag. The bag was open. So I knew from the get-go that this was going to be a bit of an adventure. And most people would look at this and be like, that is not worth my time. And I would agree with most people. The only reason that I'm really bothering or that I have any interest at all in building this kit is because when I was a kid, sometime back, well before the internet, my dad built this one. And I had mistakenly thought that it was a Phoenix, a scale model of the Phoenix missile, which it's not apparently. But that's what I had always thought of, and I really loved this one. I thought this was great. It was the coolest thing my dad ever built, at least model rocket wise. Anyway, so I've actually been looking off and on for something that looks like this to build, and lo and behold, I came across this open bag in a bin basically of giveaways from someone was clearing out their house, I think. And I thought, yeah, I want to build this. So the problem is, again, open bag, and this is probably from, oh gee, I don't know. This might be a run from like the early 90s. So yeah, it's it's going to be interesting. So anyway, here is the challenge. I'm not actually going to build anything today, I think. This is what's in the box. I've got the body tube, which is more or less fine. It's a little chewed up on the end, but that's not really a problem. This is the nose cone end. I can probably reshape that with the nose cone. And I can work to straighten that out over some time. So that's fine. That's good. This is the motor mount, at least part of it. There is balsa, and the balsa looks fine. It's not warped, it's not deformed. This is, though, back from the era when things were die cut. So it looks fine. I don't see any obvious breaks or anything like that. I mean, it's cracked here, but that's fine because that's right along where one of the fins is going to get cut out anyway. It looks intact. That piece is fine, or is the worst of the two. This one, again, it's got its two longer, thinner fins and the two wider fins. It looks fine. It might be a little warped, but it's not bad. So that's great. If the fins were damaged, then this would be a much more difficult project. But that's okay. They're fine. What else do we have in the bag? Well, we have a parachute, but no thread, no shroud lines. We have the little like page reinforcers that go with the parachute. So without the shroud lines, this is not terribly useful, and this is actually one that you need to cut out yourself. So that's fun. I don't remember when Estes stopped doing that and made pre-assembled ones, but this is a build it yourself, missing a fairly important piece. So I certainly could get some shroud lines. It's not hard to find the right string. So I could build this, but I think I'm not, and hopefully the reasons will be fairly explanatory, or explained pretty soon, one way or the other. Here are the decals. The decal sheet looks decent. Trying to remember, there was one kit that I built somewhat recently in a video like this, and the decals were from this vintage, and I thought they were peel-offs, but they're not. They're water slides, and I looked like an idiot for a while trying to peel them off. Yeah, these are water slides, and they look like they're in pretty good shape. They don't appear to be obviously damaged. They are old, so there is a decent chance that I get them wet and they just kind of like fall to pieces in the cup. So hopefully that won't happen, but they look promising, so fingers crossed on that. And I also have centering rings, so that's good. I need the centering rings for the motor mount, and that's actually it. There are two other things in here that I put in because I went through my materials to find out what I needed. Now, it's always good practice when you open a kit anyway to look at what's included. There's always a page, regardless of which manufacturer you're using, and what you need, right? So body tube check, engine mount check, Die cut fins, check. Centering rings, check. Tape discs, check. Parachute, check. So what am I missing? The nose cone, that's a problem. Obviously, the rocket needs a nose cone. I'm going to have to order one. I have a stash, but I don't have any that's quite as big as this tube. So what do you do if you don't have the nose cone? Well, you can, I mean, there are ways to 3D print them. I kind of have access to that technology-ish, but I'm not going to go that route. So what do you do? Well, you need to know what size to order, and that means you need to know the diameter of the tube. I'm going to use inches because that's what I've got, but you can probably better measuring in centimeters. So this thing, again, it's hard to measure the diameter of a circle, right? Because you have to make sure that you're going directly across. I don't entirely know where that is. It's a little more than 1.5 inches, it looks like. You can certainly do this, and I show you because it's good practice. But what I ended up doing was I went through my collection of rockets and test fit the nose cones until I found one that fits. And then I went back to its instructions and found out what the diameter of the tube is. Now, Estes's manufacturing is kind of industry standard for this now. So Estes names them all BT, body tube something, and then a number. I don't really know how they came up with the numbering system. It doesn't seem to match a measurement, but this is what they call BT60. It's like 42 millimeters or something like that. So I need to order a nose cone. I don't have any of the right ones. That's fine. They're fairly inexpensive. You can buy them. Estes sells them in packs, or you can go through another manufacturer. I'm going to end up using Rocketarium, which is a nice Canadian company. I think I built at least one thing, Rocketarium kit, 2 kits I think, for this channel. But I'm going to go with them because you can single order individual nose cones, and their nose cones look pretty much like the one that's pictured here. So nose cone, that's a problem. What else? Launch lug, that's an easy fix. I happen to have one. I actually cut this. This was a leftover bit from something. I'm not entirely sure what. But I have this kind of stuff kicking around. If not, this is another thing you can order in packets. So you can order like a dozen 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch or 3/16 launch lugs. This, I'm not entirely sure what this one is. I think it's a 1/8, but there's actually another one here too. So I might end up using both of these, just kind of staggering them. The instructions are calling for one long one. I could put 2 of them staggered like this farther up the rod, so that's an option. I might just start with the one. We'll go from there. So that's not a problem. I don't need to order that. The shroud lines, I don't have those. That, because, I mean, this parachute's probably, that's ancient anyway, so I'm not sure that this is a great thing to build one way or the other, even with current shroud lines. So I think I'm just going to end up buying a new chute entirely. There again, you can buy pre-assembled ones. I don't know how big this is supposed to be. I could certainly unfold it and measure it. It's probably either an 18-inch or a 24-inch chute. I think I'm going to end up ordering a thin nylon one. Why? I don't know. Nylon's nice. It's generally stronger. It can take more of a beating. If the ejection shard doesn't work quite right, then it generally can take more punishment than a plastic one. It's a little heavier, usually, and it can be a little harder to fold up, but I think I'm going to go with an 18-inch nylon chute for this. And then last, there are 2 other things. Engine hook. There wasn't an engine hook in this. I happen to have some engine hooks kind of kicking around, which is good. They happen to be older style ones, which actually look like the ones in the picture. So I don't love these. I prefer the ones with that kind of recurve back. They're easier to use, but this will do in a pinch. So that's fine. I actually have a few of them. If I didn't, I could you can make them without the engine hook. You could certainly just friction fit it and then tape. So that's an option, but I am going to go with the hook because I have it. If you really want a better, more modern hook, again, this is a thing you can order. I actually have, this is a set of motor mount pieces. I don't think it has any hooks in it though, but it does have some other things that I might consider. Like this kit doesn't come with an engine block. And there are engine blocks in this. I might put an engine block in it. And I think I will actually, because I don't really trust the stopping power of the little hook end here. I'd rather have the engine block. So I think let's just take the time. I have this stapled shut. This is my approach to sealing the bag, is just to staple it. So I'll have to kind of unhook that and then find the appropriate piece. I believe it is this, maybe. Now let's test fit it. I think this is the right piece. It should just barely fit inside. Yeah, that's good. That's an engine block. All right, so we'll keep that. This is a retaining ring. I might want to use that too. That generally just goes around like this. So we'll keep that out. I wasn't really intending to, but yeah, might as well, right? The other thing I would think about doing with this particular kit is I would consider scaling it up to a 24mm motor mount, which I have in here. The problem is I don't have the centering rings for this. The centering rings, these, obviously these only fit this tube to this diameter. So you can't just swap this out with a bigger one and use this. You can, of course, order centering rings, and all you need to know is the diameter of the motor mount, which in this case is 18mm, and then the diameter of the body tube, which is, in this case, again, it's an Estes BT60. So that's kind of the nomenclature that you would need to use. So if I did want to put a 24mm mount in this, I would need a 24 to BT60 centering ring, which I could order. I'm not going to do that, though. As tempting as it is. It really is. I would very much consider it. This thing's probably going to cap out at maybe 600 feet on a C. So, yeah, a D wouldn't, it would be kind of nice. Anyway, the last thing that's missing is the shock cord. I don't have one of them either. That actually is a pretty major problem, but I would need to replace the shock cord anyway, because this thing is, it's old, right? The elastic band is not going to cut it. So you can certainly order elastic. I have this big old spindle of Kevlar thread. This is what I'm going to end up using. I'm going to end up using this because, well, I don't actually have any spare elastic lying around. This is a perfectly good choice. It is not flame impervious, but it could certainly take more of a beating than the elastic. One other thing that I'm going to be ordering for this guy, and I'm not entirely sure I'm going to use it, I'm pretty sure I am, is I'm going to consider putting in an ejection baffle to this. An ejection baffle is a little tube that's going to fit inside of the body tube, and its job is it's going to allow the gases from the ejection charge to go through it, but not the flaming chunks of gunpowder that get kicked up, like the flaming little bits of soot. So it's we don't have one, unfortunately. Like I said, I need to order it. But basically, the gases go in this side, and then there's a series of, it's a baffle, right? It's got some walls, and the air can go through without much trouble, but nothing sizable can. So, that's something to consider. So that I think I'm going to order as well, and then once all that stuff arrives, then I could start putting it together. Anyway, in the next video, I've talked for what I'm going to do. In the next video, we'll get started on dealing with the fins. I can certainly work on that in the intervening time before whatever I order arrives. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this will be an interesting, informative project for what to do if you don't have all the pieces. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.